Afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. So in the last class, we dealt with the work settings where psychologists work. Okay, I hope that's quite enough, no? It's quite understandable. Which were the settings? Sanjana, name anyone?
Community psychology.
Community psychologist. Kevin, next one.
Hospitals.
No, which all topics did we learn? One was community psychologist. Then
Clinical psychologist.
clinical psychologist. Emily, another one.
Counseling psychologist.
Counseling psychologist. Shreya,
Clinical psychologist.
clinical already said.
School psychologist.
School psychologist. Yes, Amal.
Organizational psychologist.
Organizational psychologist. I think we learned about only 5, right? Okay, we already know that there are other settings also, but mainly these 5 consider. Okay, now next we'll study about the main themes of research and applications. Those who have the text, please turn to page number 13. Themes of research and application. So basically, what we do is, usually we say that there are a lot of settings in which psychologists work, and there are different types of work that psychologists do, like conducting tests, interpreting the results, then counseling, then treatment, giving psychotherapy, diagnosing a disorder, then what else? In school psychology, we usually say, we usually speak about the formulation of curriculum, all those things. Okay, so there are n number of things that the psychologists engage in. But usually we categorize them into 2 sections. One is research oriented, the other one is application, which means whatever the individual studying the course of psychology, whatever this person is studying, we use it for 2 main purposes. One is for research. The other one is for application, which means we apply those principles in real life. For example, clinical psychologist. He or she is applying what he or she has studied about the disorders in real life setting, isn't it? They are trained in all these therapies, so they are offering the therapy to the clients. They are applying that in real life setting. Understood? Otherwise, the other people involved would be interested in conducting research, conducting experiments, conducting studies. Okay, so that is why we are considering as 2 main categories. One is research, the other one is application. Okay, and we are going to study what are the basic themes that will lead these people to conduct the research or conduct the studies or apply the psychological principles in daily life. We are studying about, I think, 5 themes are there in total. We'll see them one by one. So, themes of research and application. Basically, we divide all the activities that psychologists do into 2 categories, that is research and application. 2 categories. And in the coming section, we are going to see what are the basic themes or what are the ideas around which these research and application of psychological principles are done. The first one is psychology, like other sciences, attempts to develop principles of behavior and mental process. You can take down this colored words. Psychology, like other sciences, attempts to develop principles of behavior and mental processes. For example, I told you about learning principles. In behaviorism, when we learned about behaviorism, what is the assumption of behaviorism?
They focus on the noticeable behaviors expressed by the.
Observable. You have to
Yeah.
use that term. Observable behaviors. They focus on observable behaviors. Suppose if I have become a clinical psychologist and I am treating a patient. I am following, I belong to the behaviorism school. I like to follow the behavior therapies mainly. So, what if a person comes with a disorder, certain disorder, and I conceptualize that disorder based on behaviorism, or I am planning to give behavior therapy for the person. So, I will formulate the problems of the person, and what would be the reason? What will I suggest? What would be the reason behind the disorder? I am belonging to behaviorism school of psychology and I'm planning to give behavior therapy. Let's take another example where the client is coming with a phobia. Okay, the client is coming with a phobia. So, if I'm planning to give the person behavior therapy, then what would be my conceptualization of the problem? How would I conceptualize that client's problem or phobia? How would have this person got phobia?
Past experience or trauma.
Past experience or trauma, is that the word in behaviorism? Past experience is all right, but what kind of experience? Which set of principles do we apply in behaviorism? Something that starts with L. Any idea? No? No? Learning principles. We have so many learning principles in psychology and usually we apply them. In behavior therapy also the principles that we follow. There is a theoretical background for every therapy that we use. So these principles were developed by pioneers of psychology who researched on this, who tried applying this in daily life, and then only they formulated the principles. After that, they applied that. That is applied psychology. They applied that into daily life issues, and then they developed the therapies. That's how it goes. So the basic theme, the first theme that we are dealing with is psychology, like other sciences, attempts to develop principles of behavior and mental process. We have learning principles, we have theories on intelligence, we have theories on emotions, we have theories on motivation, then what else? We have theories on happiness, positive psychology, in well-being. For all these concepts, we have certain theories. Okay, now, psychologists function like other scientists as they design or conduct experiments and studies under controlled conditions on a wide range of psychological phenomena and draw conclusions which are supported by data. That is important. We don't draw conclusions simply. We draw conclusions only based on evidences, only based on proper or appropriate amount of data. Without data, if you're judging something or if you're concluding something, what would that be? What would that be?
Hypothesis.
Hypothesis, okay, that is hypothesis. But psychology is different from something we learned, right? What was that?
Common sense.
Common sense. Psychology is not common sense. Without any proper evidence, without proper research, or without proper information or data, if we are making a conclusion, then that is common sense. But common sense is not always right. So psychology is unlike common sense, which means it is it follows a systematic scientific methods. That is through collection of data, setting the hypothesis, then confirming if it is true or not, and the whole process goes again and again. That is how we study the concepts in psychology. So we make or we draw conclusions only based on data. So our conclusions are based or supported by data. Now, experimental, comparative, physiological, developmental, social, differential, abnormal psychology, all these are generally regarded as domains representing basic psychology. Why? Because all the theoretical principles comes under this basic psychology. All the theories, all the set of theories that we have. We'll see that in the next section. After themes, we have a small portion, basic versus applied psychology. There I'll explain once again. Okay. So in the first theme, just understand that psychology is like any other science. We already learned that it is a hybrid science. So like any other science, like any other natural science, basically, the people in this field of psychology, they conduct research, they conduct experiments in control situations. What do you mean by control situations or control
Following the
settings?
situation,
Huh?
the situations.
How do you control a situation if you are doing a study? How can you refer that this is a control situation or a control setting? Can you give me an example?
Ma'am, say if you're conducting an experiment on how people react under different temperatures, like you can put them in a room and like control the room temperature from outside and see how they react.
Yes, that is correct. So controlled situations basically are experimental setups, artificial setups. Okay, like laboratory settings. We have two types of experiments. In artificial settings and also in natural settings. We study people in natural settings as well as in artificial settings. Suppose in natural setting, there are different types of observation also. We'll study that in the next chapter, but I'll just give a brief. There is natural observation, which means we go to the natural habitat of the individual, then observe that person. Or it can be done as laboratory observation, which means we bring them to the laboratory or the artificial experimental setup. Then we give them some questionnaires or make them fill it. Or as Abhilash said, if we want to study the temperature, effect of temperature on behavior, then we can control certain factors like temperature, light, noise, all those things. Okay. That is about experimental setup. So basically the theme is it develops principles of behavior and mental processes. Then next theme, that is human behavior as a function of the attributes of persons and environment. This is a very important theme, and this equation you have to by heart, study by heart. B equal to F of PE. Not too much max, don't worry. You just have to put the equal to sign F, P, E, and B in the correct places. That's all. So Kurt Lewin was the person who put forward this equation. And what does this mean? The B stands for behavior. F stands for function. Okay, those who study mathematics, they might know. F of something. F of something means function of something. Okay, we pronounce or we read this as F of. If F and a bracket is given, then we read it as F of something. So here, behavior, that is B, and F is F of, function of. P and E. P is related to persons and E is related to environment. So behavior is a function of or F of P and E. That is the person and the environment. That's right, isn't it? Because the behavior is a result of our interaction with our environment. Yes or no? Yeah. So that is put into a sophisticated definition, an equation. That's all. Behavior is a result of person plus environment, the interaction among them. Okay. That is given as this equation. That is B is a function of, or B equals function of PE equal to F of PE, which suggests that behavior is the product or the outcome of a person and her or his environment. Very simple. Now, persons differ with respect to their various attributes because of their genetic endowments and diverse experiences. So, there will be different factors that people have inherited from their forefathers, from their parents. Okay, so that factors plus the different experiences that people have in their life. All these factors make people unique, human beings unique, because each of us have different experiences, isn't it? So that is regarding P. And E also. There are various factors in the environment that might change. And the person who experienced that factor might perceive it in different ways also. Suppose if we all are going for a trip, okay, and where would we go, Malavika? Somewhere nearby?
Kodaikanal.
Kodaikanal, very nearby. Okay, we'll go to Kodaikanal, and maybe we'll camp near a lake. We'll camp near a lake. So in the evening, we all are sitting for a campfire, and the experiences that all of us would be having might be different, isn't it? Some of us would be in a mood to go and sleep. Some of us would like to scroll Instagram and sit in a corner. Some of us would have the headsets plugged in. We would be listening to songs. And some of you would be listening to BTS, isn't it? Yes. Then some of you would like to keep your phone away, and escape from the digital life and then enjoy the moment. If you're a nature lover, you would look at the trees, the birds, the lake, and all the hills and all those things. Then some of you would get sick even because of the climate. Then some others would like to dance because it's a campfire. Some of you will be in a mood to dance. And some of us would be just sitting and observing what is happening all around. Okay, so we all are in the same situation, but the experiences that we are having, that is different. Okay, and environment is a thing which it is a common thing for all of us. We all are in the same environment there in that situation, but the way we perceive the environment is also different, is it not? Yes, that is given, and because of these perception, our behavior also changes. The different things that we do, that is a result of all these interactions with the person and the environment, isn't it? Yes. So that is explained in this equation. Behavior is a function of person and the environment. B equal to F of PE. Okay. And environment, again, I told you, the physical settings might be the same for everyone, but the way we conceptualize it or the way we perceive it is different. That is why different people are having different experiences. And why are we perceiving it differently? It is because of our genetic endowments and our diverse experiences. Genetic endowments means the things that you have inherited, that you have got by genetics. Got it? So B equal to F of PE. And usually people have the tendency to, people means students have the tendency to write P here, then B here, or E here, and everything goes wrong. So make sure you understand the meaning of the equation and then study. This just means that P and E, if you consider them as two people, they interact with each other. And the outcome of the interaction is behavior. That's the only thing. Okay, so behavior is a function of P and E, which means the person along with the environment. Got it? Okay, that's the second theme. So the first theme was regarding the principles that people develop in the field of psychology. Second one is human behavior as a function of the attributes of persons and environment. Now the third one, human behavior is caused. This, I think you can explain to me. Human behavior is caused. We have discussed it so many times.
Behavior is caused by the environmental conditions.
Behavior is caused by environmental conditions alone or some other conditions also. Human behavior is caused by whom? By what?
The person and environment.
Person's environment. Alone? Person's environment alone?
No, person and environment.
Person and environment. Okay. So that means we have studied two set of factors. What are they?
Internal and external.
Internal and external factors. Abhijit, please switch on your video.
And covert.
Overt and covert behaviors are there, but I'm asking the causes of behavior. See, now I gave an instruction to Abhijit to switch on the camera, to switch on the video. That is an external stimulus. So his behavior is influenced by the environment. Now, if he would have thought to switch it on earlier, then he would have switched it on much earlier, isn't it? Yes? So that would be an internal factor, motivation from inside. Understood? So behavior is caused, and can you say that behavior is only caused by one factor, like an X and Y relationship? As we study in mathematics, X causes Y. Is that applicable to behaviors also?
No,
Why?
because there is more than just X and Y. There might be a number of reasons our behavior are caused.
Yes, there might be X1, X2, X3, X4 that causes Y, isn't it? So a linear relationship, we'll see here. A simple linear relationship explanation based on simple linear relationship, that is X causing Y. X might cause Y, but there might be another 1, 2, 3 factors that causes, again leads to this. It causes again Y. Okay, so we'll see that behavior, human behavior is caused, that is the third theme. And all human behavior can be explained in terms of causes which are internal, that is internal to the organism or the individual, or external, that is having location in the outside environment. That is what you said, Amal Roshan. Okay, behavior is caused by external factors. Not only external factors, but also the internal ones. Without understanding causal explanations, no prediction is possible. So if you can, for a behavior, if you can explain the causes of that behavior, then only we can predict. Okay, then only we can predict what might happen in the future or in the coming days. Then psychologists realize that simple linear explanations such as X causing Y do not hold true. This is H. Do not hold true since each behavior might have multiple causes. Can you give me an example? Why is X causes Y not true in the field of psychology? Abhinav, only your hair is attending my class. Okay. Yes. Somebody give me an example. Just take one behavior, try to explain different causes for that behavior. Simple.
Ma'am, for example, shutting a door. So one can shut the door because someone told them to like, please shut the door. Or if there's something, if it's cold outside, they can shut the door. That's another external factor.
Okay. So, according to what you said, in one situation, somebody might have told you and then you might close the door. In another situation, you might feel cold and that's why you're closing the door, isn't it? But there are two situations. I'm asking about one situation. One behavior which is being affected by different causes. Shall I tell? Okay. For example, you're attending the class right now. So it might be because you want the attendance. It might be because psychology class is interesting. Okay. It might be because you don't have anything else to do at that particular time. It might be because your girlfriend or boyfriend is in the class. Yes, it happens. Then it might be because you want to see your best friend in the class. Yes. So all these 5 reasons can occur at the same time, right? And it can cause the same behavior of you attending the class. Yes or no? Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
very clear example. I shouldn't explain it anymore, I know. Okay, we'll save time. We have other things to discuss now. Okay, so you have understood human behavior is caused. Okay, next theme. Understanding of human behavior is culturally constructed. I told you whichever chapter we are studying, okay, let it be learning, let it be motivation, emotion, anything. In all these chapters, we will learn about the cultural impact of on these attributes, psychological attributes. So whichever attribute you take, culture has an influence on it. Culture always influences a particular behavior, thought, or experience of a person. So, understanding of human behavior is culturally constructed, which means even a certain behavior like aggression. Okay, let's take aggression because it's very easy to explain that side and it's easy for you to understand. When we take aggression, in different cultures, people perceive aggression in different ways. In certain nomadic cultures, as in South Africa and all, this aggression is okay in their culture because children are taught to be aggressive in certain cultures. Okay, then what happens in culture in Kerala? Usually, or in olden times, let's consider in olden times. Are children taught to be very aggressive towards their elders?
No.
No. That's entirely different from the other cultures, isn't it? So that is why we're telling, even if we take simple behaviors itself, that is influenced by different cultural values. And that behavior itself is perceived in different ways in different cultures also. In our culture, getting divorced. I know the things are changing, but still, in earlier days, getting divorced or second marriage, all those were considered as a sin, isn't it? There were times when it was considered as a sin, and even now people exist who consider it so. But in European cultures, is it the same? No, it's a very common thing. They have accepted it. They have normalized it. Okay. So that is the next theme. Understanding of human behavior is culturally constructed, which means human behavior is affected by the cultural factors. Some psychologists believe that psychological theories and models are Euro-American, which means when we studied the history, we studied most of the concepts are influenced by Western concepts. So many of them argue that everything is Euro-American. And a similar critique is made by feminists who argue that psychology offers a male perspective and ignores the perspective of women. Generally, in Freud's theories and all, it is like that. because women are considered as a very, not much is told about them, but whatever is told about them is in a negative manner. Okay, so that is also one thing. The gender issues, all those are also discussed here. Then they argue for a dialectical approach which will accommodate both male and female perspectives in understanding human behavior, which means we have to include both male perspective as well as female perspective to get a logical understanding of the concept. Okay, so in culturally constructed topics, we not only discuss about the attitudes, beliefs, and patterns that we have got from our forefathers, it is also about gender. Okay, that is the fourth theme. Next one is human behavior can be controlled and modified through the application of psychological principles. We apply these principles. In the first theme, we talked about developing the principles, isn't it? Now, if the principles and facts are there, we apply them to real life situations. And they can be controlled, they can be modified. What can be modified? Human behaviors can be modified and controlled. Psychologists as well as other scientists have a desire to develop techniques or methods that will improve the quality of human life. They make interventions into lives of needy people. Interventions means we test something, and if we think it's useful, we introduce that into the lives of people. That is intervention. Vaccination is a form of intervention. The corona vaccine, the Covishield, Covaxin, all the things that we are taking, that is a form of intervention, which means the scientists have researched on this. They have done lots of research and found out that this is effective for, this is effective to fight against coronavirus. So that is why they have concluded that their hypothesis is true. Now they are applying that into daily life. Because if they confirm and keep that in papers, in records, it's not useful, isn't it? They have to do an intervention. They have introduced that into people's life. Now the needy people are the citizens of our country or the people all over the world. We need the vaccine. We need a solution for this problem, isn't it? Similarly, in psychology also, we do the research and we develop interventions. We do interventions into the lives of needy people. Needy people does not only mean the people who are poor. Anybody in need can be considered as needy people. Okay. Here, in contextual meaning, I'm telling about the context that we are talking about. Now, using psychological principles and theories, they try to remove certain difficulties or adverse conditions that individuals experience different phases of their life. That is also understood, right? Again, just like the example of a virus, even in psychology also, we can, for example, social skills training. That intervention can be done for people who suffer from social anxiety especially, and those who do not know how to mingle with people, how to communicate things to people. Because of that, they might be losing their job, they might be having problems in their interpersonal relationships, even with their spouse. Okay, they are not able to communicate properly. So their interventions are done for social skills training, which means they after the training, they'll be able to, hopefully, they'll be able to communicate with the others in a social, very, very social or friendly manner. Okay, that is one example. So that is about the fifth theme. I think that's it, right? Only 5 themes are there. Now, after this, we have one small topic, that is basic versus applied psychology. Basic psychology means all the theories that we are studying, all the theories and principles that form the basis of application of psychology. This is research oriented. This is basically research oriented. Now, applied psychology is we apply all these theories into daily life pattern. That is, different contexts in which the theories and principles derived from research can be meaningfully applied. Again, that is application oriented. I told you about social skills training right now, isn't it? A person who is coming with phobia, if we apply social skills training to that person, will it be effective? No, that person is in need of something else. So that is why this word is important here. Meaningfully applied. We have to apply it meaningfully according to the needs of the client. All right. So basic psychology, remember, that is the foundation, the basis. What is the foundation of any science? The theories and principles there. Okay. And applied psychology, as the name suggests, we apply these theories and principles into daily life. We meaningfully apply it. Not simply take some technique random and then apply. We should meaningfully apply it into daily life. That's it. Okay. So that's about the themes of research and application. We have also completed basic versus applied psychology. Yes.
Will you show me the last slide?
Of course. If you have any doubt, please ask. We just have one more topic and we'll finish the chapter. The last topic is psychology and other disciplines. Psychologists at work, we already completed. Psychology in everyday life also, we already completed. Okay, Emmeline, finished?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So that's it then. Thank you.
Leave the class, it's a failure.